Good morning, all of you. A warm welcome. So today's session is on physiotherapy, and today new lecturers are taking the class. So I would like to invite Kiran sir, Johnson sir, and also Gopichan sir. Now I request Johnson sir can start the session, please. Thank you, sir. Sir, Gopichan sir, can you want to tell anything, sir?
Yeah. Very good morning to all of you. We've had some good sessions and a good sharing of knowledge from Agus coach and Namri coach and myself, Dwi coach, over the last few days. Here I'm happy and proud to present to you two of our most experienced physiotherapists who've been part of Indian team at various big events, including the Olympics of London and Rio. Kiran, who's been there part of the Indian team for the last 10 years or more, and who's himself studied in Australia, and who's a very able and a very experienced therapist with a vast knowledge of the sport, having interacted with a lot of top players from across the world in the last 10 years. He has tons of knowledge. Also, we have with us Johnson, who takes care of the doubles team. Who's been part of many of the biggest events in the world. He's been part of the athletic squad of the Indian team, and he has been with us for over 8 to 10 years now. So both of them are very experienced, have a lot of on-field knowledge, because many of the times you have the degrees, but you don't have the on-field experience. But both of them have studied at the best colleges in the country. They've gone abroad. They've done courses abroad. They've come back to serve the country and are very knowledgeable. So I would request all of you to be attentive and go through this lecture properly. As I promised, tomorrow we'll have a session of the exercises which have been said. Many of you wanted agility, some yoga, some wanted drills to be shown. So tomorrow I will share all those things. But for today, we have our physios, Kiran and Johnson, take over from here. Over to you, Johnson and Kiran.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, Johnson, sir, I'm giving host, sir. You can share the screen. Yes, sir. Johnson, sir.
Can you hear me, Bhaskar?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, just a second. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. It's 12 past. And first of all, before starting, I just want to thank Sports Authority of India, and as well as Badminton Association of India, and also Chief Coach of Indian Badminton, Mr. Pullela sir. Okay, so Just as you all are aware of today's topic, we'll be doing a topic on prevention of injury in badminton. So here, I hope everybody are listening to this. So we'll be sharing our experiences where we have been long term with the badminton. So it will be more on practical aspects. So we will be talking less on the theoretical aspect, but just to give a just of a few of the things which are very essential in the injury rehabilitation, I'll be sharing with you. Okay. First of all, you need to understand badminton itself. The game is a bit complex game. The complexity involves here in this game, especially because game involves speed and sudden change of direction and lot of jumps and lunges, agility. So these all components make the game of badminton very complex on court. So where the player are really the load on the player on the physical side is enormous. So to understand this and to avoid the injuries because of the challenges, we need to understand each and every component of it. So I'll be going through one after the other. I'll be coming across one slide after the after. If you have any questions, you can just share on the chat box so we can discuss it later once we finish the classes. Okay. Okay. Here is a one study which we have, which I have found. This explains. First of all, we need to understand if any injuries which happens. We need to understand how the distribution of injuries based on anatomical region according to the body segment, how it is distributed. Then only we can concentrate on look in more keenly to how to handle those injuries. So this was one study which was done, and the study says this is a distribution of the percentage base, the body segments which are involved in badminton players who undergo injuries. So knee is involved 23%, and lower back 21%, ankles are around 13%, and lower leg is around 13%, thigh 11%, foot 8%, shoulders 6%, chest 5%. So these are the anatomical region the injuries are distributed according to one of the study. So roughly we need to understand here is most of the time the lower limbs are more involved in injuries. So that comprises around 60 to 65% of injuries are to be found in lower limbs below the hip level. So that's this slide explains us about. Okay, we move to other thing. Before going for a prevention, we need to understand where and how the sequence of prevention of sports injuries happens. Like, so this is a simple explanation. Any researchers or any good clinicians, sports clinicians, they'll follow this sequence. So first of all, you need to find out the establish the extent of injury, that is with incidence and severity. We need to know that, and once you know that, then you need to understand what are the causes and the mechanism of injury, because this holds a very important aspect of the injury. Because if you cannot understand the causes and mechanism of injury, then going further will be difficult to intervene. So the third step, it comes to introducing preventive measures. It can be any term of any sort of preventive measures. It can be simple exercises, or it can be simple brace or tape. Any sort of things, interventions can be done in the third stage of it. Then again, once we prescribe this one, then we again reassess for it effectiveness. So in competition or in training, with this intervention, whether the player is really performing better or not, whether it is helping him with an injury or not. So we need to assess this. So this cycle becomes a sequence which regularly we keep on looking into it. Every time we understand the injury and causes, then intervene and assess. So this keeps on every time whenever the training part or the regular time, whenever we look into preventive, this sequence keeps happening regularly. Okay, there are risk factors for injuries in badminton players. This is generally explained in which has been classified into intrinsic and extrinsic. So intrinsic is factors inherited from birth. So we look first into intrinsic factors, then we'll go to extrinsic factors. So intrinsic factor is again classified into non-modifiable and modifiable. So factors which inherited from birth, which we cannot change. So those are non-modifiable, and we can change a bit slightly, that are modifiable. So we cannot change a player age of a player. We cannot change a gender. We cannot change ethnicity. We cannot change genetics. So these fall under the non-modifiable intrinsic factors which influence the injuries. So next is modifiable. So we can work on these things, and we can change or modify a bit. So working on those things on the program. Based on that, like I need to explain here, this is a muscle strength we can change with a training or power, and range of motion of the joint or flexibility we can change, and skill of the person or the player can be enhanced, and health also we can improve. We can help with the previous injuries, and in regard to the joint stability, those things we can these fall under the category of modifiable, I think. So next we'll move to factors which are considered to be the extrinsic one, which influence, which are not inherited by players. So these are the outside the extrinsic factors which influence the injuries. So every part we'll look into more detail. So I'll put it in this format. There is a training which influences extrinsic factor, the what type of training and how planning, all these things comes under extrinsic factor, which influences the injury sometimes. And nutrition is a very important point. So here sometimes what happens, like nutrition, I'll be talking in much detail all these points in a later slides. And equipment considered to be a racket or anything which player will be using, any sort of things like shoes or those things, it can be considered as a equipment. And environment, like certain conditions, some of the matches or the competition or the training happens in a very cold conditions, or probably in the humid conditions, like that is warmer conditions, probably in the summer or something. So how those things influences in the injuries, we'll be talking about those things. And there are other factors which are considered to be a condition of the mat or hall. So these are the extrinsic factors which influences the injury. So we will be looking each of it in every bit of detail. Okay, so this is a very important part. These are the factors which helps in prevention of badminton injuries. So probably there is a few studies which says, like if we can follow these things, if you can do, so probably approximately around 50% of the injuries we can stop in the preventing stage itself. So there are a few of the topics which I am discussing here. The first one is warm up, second is stretching, and third is taping and bracing, and protective equipment, suitable equipment, environmental factors, appropriate training, psychology, and nutrition. So these are the things I'll be talking in detail, so which can help in preventing the badminton injuries. So first we'll move to warm up. We'll see how it can be helpful for preventing the injuries. So generally, warm up are the exercises done prior to the before the match or before the training session. So this involves mainly general exercises or specific exercises. So general exercises, it can be a simple jogging or probably a side running, back running, and simple back stretches. So these can be a simple general exercises. Specific exercises, it can be a joint mobility exercises or short sprint, calf raises, lunges. So these are the very specific which has to be done all the place, like, just to avoid the injuries. So these becomes very specific. So it depends like what is the need of a player, and he has to at least look into this. These things has to be taken care. So what if the person is doing warm up? So what will be the advantages? So there will be increased blood flow to the muscle, the working muscle, and there will be increased range of motion in the joint, in the particular joint, and increased delivery of oxygen to the muscle. So muscle which is working or which is challenged in the match, training or competition, there will be a delivery of oxygen to that particular muscle due to this warm up. So the impulses of the central nervous system, there is an enhancement, the speed will increase, the speed of the nerve impulses can enhance there, and enhanced metabolism. And usually there is a suggestion that when we look into the most of the research says like you should do the warm up. It should not, if you have a match around 12 o'clock, you should start doing by half an hour before. So that's how it has to be. So these are the warm-up things which you need to regularly do. So we'll be moving on to stretching. So we looked into one part of warm-up which can help in preventing injuries. So second part is stretches. How stretches can be helpful in preventing injuries. So basic principle of stretching will be warm up prior to stretching, and stretching has to be gently and slow. So these principles you have to follow, and stretch to the point of tension without causing a pain. So you should not cause the you should not stretch the muscle beyond its ability, which can cause a pain and later on causes a tear. So you should keep in mind about these things, and always stretch before the match or the training session, and after the training session, and after the match. So it has to be done. So these are the basic principles which has to be followed in stretching. And how stretching it helps. This is a bit controversial to say how exactly it helps, but there are few which have been found to be very positive side of the muscle. So that is like increase in the flexibility of a muscle. So before playing, if you can do these things, that it can be very good, and it prepares the muscle and tendon junction. So this is something to do with the physiology of a muscle, where it helps the muscle tendon to give its feedbacks to the central nervous system. So that's how it helps, and it helps elevate muscle soreness. So later on, any soreness or the pain which comes after the play can be taken care if the stretching is done before the match or before the competition or before the training in much better way. So there are a few types of stretching which are explained. I am putting in a very simple terminologies because I don't want you to make it more confusions up with this. So there are simple three types of stretchings. One is static, dynamic, and PNF. Static is something like where the muscle is hold like for 30 to 40 seconds or 45 seconds, and slowly and gently later relax. So this is a safe method to enhance flexibility. This can be done. So dynamic are the stretches which are active movements where joints and muscles go through a full range of motion. Usually during a warm-up, we always prefer doing some dynamic stretches, not the static one. So this is always kept in our mind, so that to avoid any sort of injuries even while doing stretching. So you should be careful with that. So PNF stretching is usually done under the supervision, usually done by a physios or physiotherapist. This is like just to understand this is an alternate contraction and relaxation, and which happens in both agonist and antagonist muscles. So this is done under supervision. So this usually done by a physios. So we'll move on to the third topic, that is taping and bracing. So how this can be helpful in preventing injuries. So taping and bracing are used to restrict the undesired and potentially harmful motion and only allowed to desired motion. So usually we use a taping. especially probably you might have seen in many elite matches in the higher competition, Super Series and other competitions where a lot of players comes with tapes around the ankle and shoulder and many places. So these are the things which are used according to what movement we want in the joint or what movement we don't want in the joint. So based on that, we do that, and that taping can be used in the prevention of the injuries, as well as we can use in the rehabilitation of the injuries also. So if we have we will be using this taping. So bracing is don't get confused with the taping and bracing. Bracing is something which we use when somebody is gone for a ACL injury and coming back, and they'll be going for a play. So that time we do a bracing. Bracing has to be very strictly with a good size and good fitting. So probably everybody have seen like somebody after ACL surgery coming to a play or coming to the on court, you see like some sort of brace or support is there on the knee. So these are considered to be the braces, and tapes are usually the rigid tape or kinesio tape or this sort of tapes which we regularly use for a play. So I need to bring to your attention about this Kashyap's snap, which was 2014 Commonwealth when he won it. So he had a lot of shoulder instability. So for almost a year or more, we regularly used to tape his shoulder so that it doesn't go out of his joint and cause further more injuries. So this was more of a preventive taping. Whenever he used to go, we used to do a taping. So this was one part. And next we go to protective and suitable equipments. So I need to bring to your attention about the shoes which are used by a badminton players. This is a very important aspect because a lot of people, when spend a lot of years in training, there is a lot of issues which arises because of the not having a good shoes according to their size or comfort. So you need to check like both the foot right and left are with the same size, because there are certain elite players in the international circuit where the foot size differs from left to right. So I can give an example of Victor Axelsen, who uses two different size of shoes for his leg. So we should always use a correct shoe size, so which gives a good comfort. Because as you know, the badminton involves a lot of side-to-side jumps and change of direction, speed, and lunging backward. So these are all movements when shoe is not correctly fitted. Usually, what happens when lunging forward, it just slips off. If shoes having a bigger size, then it just slips off and causes an injury. That can cause an injury. So we need to have a good shoe size for the player. So we need to look in, we have to always think in this manner. And especially for on-court sessions or on-court matches, you all are aware of what sort of shoes we use. So we should be using those shoes, which are like considered to be non-markable. So those shoes should be used. And off-court training, especially in the gym and track running or any sort of things, we always suggest to use a training shoe with a good comfort and bit of a heel support, so that it can keep their foot in a good shape. So we always suggest that. And I need to bring to your attention about the playing court mat. There have been certain incidents because of a defective or the probably like issue on the court has caused many injuries. Probably like because of some tape coming off on the court, or some sort of slippery on the court. So these things will cause an injury on the player. So we need to be very careful when a player is practicing or making any training on those courts. So you should look into those aspects. So we'll move to next topic is environmental factors. So how this environmental factors how environmental factors influence the injuries. So extreme cold and warm weather can influence in causing injuries. Certain times, a majority of the badminton is played by Asian continent as well as a European continent, and mostly somebody from Asia like India is going to the European countries, the conditions there are much colder places, like probably on an average of less than 10 degrees and so. So this sort of conditions make a player really challenging. So we always suggest them to have a good clothing and probably like to take good care, because we don't want them to fall sick. And sometimes what happens when they before the match also, when they have to travel from a hotel to the competition hall and all, so they should be having a good clothing and all. Usually what happens when they are exposed to the cold and when they come to a match, by the time they come to the match, their body and all will be really very stiff because of exposing to the cold and all. So it takes a lot of time on the warm up during a match or before the match. So these all things we need to consider, and they need to do an extra warm up in those conditions, and where joints are involved, muscles are involved. So they have to give a bit extra more important during those conditions. And next will be the warm weather, like especially in the countries like Malaysia, Indonesia, and certain seaside countries which are very humid. So those countries make a very difficult for a player when they go there, because usually because of the humid conditions, they lose a lot of fluids from their body, and in turn might cause a cramp during the match or during the training sessions. So you might have seen in intense matches, like people have been falling due to cramps and all those things. So these conditions can be avoided by having good care of taking a good care with hydration and all those things. So, and extreme cold may cause hypothermia. So that also one of the things. And probably uneven or wet surfaces can cause a player to fall or have a collision. Collision can happen probably like in the doubles player usually, which is seen most of the time, like some partner stepping his leg on the other partner's leg or something like that. So sliding of the the player will usually, like because of wet surfaces and all, sliding happens and they fall and they get injured. So we need to just be careful of this. So we have to take care about this, so that we can prevent the injuries. So badminton players should be aware of the signs of hypothermia or heat prostration. So there are certain times when they are exposed to the severe cold conditions, so they really take a lot of time to get accustomed, and there are sense of feeling a weak or those things, those sort of things. And probably like it doesn't happen in a few seconds. It takes a bit of time, around approximately, they say, like to have a hypothermia it takes around 10 to 15 minutes. So you should be aware of the signs. We probably like some sort of mental confusions in the extreme stage, and probably feeling weak or lethargic. Those things come into play. So you should be aware of those things. And yeah, as I told you, players should be well prepared for extreme weather with the appropriate clothing and training. So when we travel for different places for a competition or any sort of matches, so they should be aware that they need a good clothing. Probably like somebody going from India and traveling to Europe, they need to carry a good warm clothes. So this is also a part of it. So they should carry it. Otherwise, it becomes difficult once they land, and probably they'll be looking for something else. So these all are very important environmental factors which can influence injury. So next we'll move to appropriate training. So this is very much the topic which has to be discussed in much detail. So usually, like when allied training happens, we usually train specific training. Sports specific training should be encouraged to enhance the improving performance. So specific training I here mention is to especially for the badminton related training. So there are a few things like which are not scientifically helpful for the badminton game. So no need to allow the player to do those training and get injured. So that's what I mean when I say specific training. So this can be done. And second is too much too soon. So usually what happens when the growing age, in the younger age, the players are pushed too much. So that is a natural tendency, like they need to have a good performance, and so that. So usually this causes a risk of increases a risk of injury. So when we push a player too much in a shorter duration, then it causes an injury. So here I need to bring to your notice, there is a very, I think probably Gopi sir might have mentioned you about this physical literacy. So here there is a long-term athlete development, which has been explained very well. When you are training with a small age group, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. So with this group, what has to be trained? What component has to be concentrated during those training part? That has been well explained in long-term athletic development. So athlete development. So you can go through that, and according to that, we can train the players according to that, so that we can reduce the risk of injury. So third is returning back from the injury. If the player is injured and coming back will take a bit of time. So once he comes back to the training, so we should be very careful what is helpful for him and what is not. So with the concern of physios, coaches all together, probably we can take on call on these things, like how gradually we can get the injured player to the playing state. So when the training is planned, so always training should be planned in such a way that there should be adequate rest between the competitions. So probably like there are qualifying rounds in the elite group where sometimes people hardly get 2-3 hours of time without resting, and all those things keeps happening. And even practice sessions has to be good sessions which are having a good amount of rest in between, so that they can get recovered and come back. And so in that way we can reduce the injuries for the player. And training must be according to the individual needs, as you all know, because every individual differs from their skill, power, strength, and food habits and tolerance. So every individual is unique, so it has to be individual based. So we have to look into those aspects to prevent the injuries. So we'll move to psychology. So there are few mental aspects which really are important in preventing injuries, and especially goal setting has to be there. So goal setting, when you get into detail, these are the topics which I won't be spending much time, because there are like vastly discussed and vastly practiced. So I'll just give just an explanation in 1 or 2 sentences. Goal setting has to be there, has to be planned according to the long-term athlete development. So that we should have a long-term plan and short-term plan. So according to that, we can just plan what the training has to be, what has to be looked into the player, and all those things we can just look according to that, so that it doesn't unnecessarily push the player for an injury. So, and certain things are, certain skills or certain things are achieved according to the level of development, probably due to the age or other factors. So we should be aware of those things. So somebody who can develop those things at 14, we cannot push in the age of 10 itself. So there should be always go with a level of development. So that is well explained in the long-term athlete development. So there are around 9 stages. If you see keenly, that explains each and every component, like speed, motor activity, and many other things. So you can go through that. And the next is imagery. This visual imagery, imitating the same things what happen in the matches, can just by visual imagery can reduce anxiety and reduce negative thoughts. And next is relaxation strategies. Usually, like here, breathing exercises and some yoga nidra and all these things will help the player to relax, which helps in relaxation. So these are, and always positive self-talk has to be encouraged. So what happens is with this, the motivation level go up, and the learning of the skill goes up. So in turn, which helps in handling the anxiety. So we have to encourage the player to go for a self-talk. It has to be always a positive self-talk. It should not be on the negative side. So we have to encourage that. And the next part is social support. This is very important when especially the player is injured and all. So they come across with a lot of not only not practicing or not training, but there is a lot of other psychological aspects which has to be well supported from the team members or the support staff or coaches. So there should be a good support to overcome those injuries which are seen in the players. That has to be there. And poor decision making is one of it. And certain times the stress also affects the concentration. So when they are in the middle of the match, if a lot of stress has been there, so definitely it affects their concentration. So that's on the psychological part. So next we'll move to recovery. So this is a very important part and which is widely practiced all over, and probably like a heavy session of training followed by that, and heavy matches or good matches followed by that. We usually follow these of the one or the two recovery aspects. We can't do everything in one go, but we need to understand how we need to go each what is needed according to the player's needs. So what we can advise is always advise for a good cool down post training or competition. After a good training session, probably cool down has to be advised, and after a good match or the competition, we have to ask the players to do a cool down. So that should be advised. And ice immersion, where the ice immersion or contrast bath whirlpools, which is, I think everybody know about this, like probably like where the facilities are not there available, you can just do that in a drum, just put a water and just put ice and ask them to be there for around 10 minutes according to their tolerance, how they can be 15 minutes, 20 minutes. You can just ask them after the heavy training session or heavy match. So usually that helps them to recover. And next is soft tissue technique. This can be like an intern of massages which can help them to recover. And manipulations and mobilizations also can a bit help for them, few of them who are really feeling stiff in the body or so, they can come back with those things. And we use a game ready sleeve. This is in a picture which I have put out here. Generally we practice here in the national camp. So most of the players who after the training session, usually once training session is done, they go for this. It has to be like a sleeve which you have to just use it, and the cold water comes and you have to hold on for a few minutes, so that it helps it takes off the muscle temperature, and in turn it helps in recovering it. So usually we carry during tournaments and matches, even that helps this way. So pool walking after the heavy training or competition should be advised, which can help in. And stretching should be advised. And calf sleeve has to be advised, which can help to retain the warmth of the muscle. That also in turn helps. And nutrition post training and competition, this becomes a very important part to recovery. And sleep. So these topics I'll be talking in the next slide in much detail. Okay, so nutrition, this is a completely different topic which has to be dealt with a nutrition, but I'm just covering the basic aspects which we have seen in the our respective players who are training here. So it has to be, nutrition has to be always a well-balanced and well-timed. Well-timed, I suggest you like probably like after match or after a heavy training session, the timing of the food is very important. So we have to encourage on that. And well-balanced is because like most of the players who like to have only certain sort of certain liking for a certain food, so that gives a lot of issues to to get into injury side also. So we have to make them understand you need to have a well balanced diet with a protein, carbs and the fat and fibers and all those things we have to. And this can be a combination of natural and supplement nutrition. So when the person is not taking enough good nutrition food, so definitely it will mimic in the risk of injury, and definitely it affects the recovery. So that has to be considered. And whenever the matches happen or the training happen, the muscle works in turn breaks down the glycogen, and which in turn causes a lot of reliance on the fat and protein store. which are stored. So you need to have a good backup for it, like with a good nutrition. So, and inadequate hydration. Now, as I said it before, certain humid conditions, the hydration has to be maintained well. So even not only there, even other part of, so I need to suggest you, like you need to have a good hydration, probably like within the training or in between the matches, they need to keep sipping a good fluid so that it keeps the working muscles in a good condition. So because as it increases the blood flow to the group of working muscles, large muscles like quadriceps, hamstring, and all these things. So this sort of inadequate hydration will land up into sometimes landing up like pulling up a hamstring or cramps or such things. So if we have a good hydration, then definitely we can avoid this. And the micronutrients has to be always there, and definitely like a major mineral component, and calcium is one of the such things which we always say to have it, along with potassium, iron, zinc, and magnesium. So these all should be encouraged, and the food which covers this should be encouraged to have. And generally badminton is an indoor sport, and most of the players spend a lot of time in indoor halls. Due to that, they are not exposed to sun and all. So there is always, like most of the time when we do a vitamin D test, we always find that the vitamin D is in a deficient side. So this in turn causes a lot of other problems. Certain times we might think like why injuries are not recovering, or like probably it can be a tendon injuries, ligament injuries, or anything. So those injuries also, once the vitamin deficiency is there, even the recovery time and healing time, all those things gets affected. So there should be always a good amount of vitamin D supplement in their diet, or probably advise them to have a sunlight in their post-training sessions. We can advise that. So next we move to sleep. This is the vastly in a recent time in a sports medicine, which has been discussed a lot, and research has been done a lot regarding with the sleep. So if the person is training well, and if the person is recovering well, but not having enough of good sleep, can lead up to something else, not performing also, or probably the risk of injury increases here. So generally the sleep is very much important for everybody to have optimum health in a normal people, but in a elite place, it becomes a very crucial crucial pillar for success, because it comes it enhances the performance. So the sleep, usually quality of the sleep and quantity of sleep is important. So it is how well they are sleeping, how deep they are sleeping, that is on the quality side. And quantity, how many hours they are sleeping, probably like they are sleeping 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours. So that holds the importance. So those both things we need to have a look on it. There is a research which has been said, the players who have been training well and doing everything onto the perfect level, and but still they lack in the sleep, less than 6 hours, the rate of injury has been found to be more in those players. So it is advisable, like on an average, like 8 to 9 hours or 7 to 9 hours has to be advised the players to go for a sleep. So how sleep affects is there is a studies which says like the person who doesn't sleep, or the player who is not sleeping well. So there is some sort of relationship have been found with some research. They say the reaction time is affected in those, and speed is affected, accuracy is affected, and definitely focus is affected, and memory and recovery of the player have been found in to be affected with a person who is sleeping less hours of sleep. So there is a direct relationship, and there is a very good studies which have proved all about this. So this is all about this, and I come to the last slide of this, and just winding up, before I want you to take this slide bit more seriously. So these are the things which helps of prevention of badminton injuries. So if we can do this of the things, probably then it might be we can reduce up to 50% of the injuries in the prevention stage. So there are injuries which we cannot certain times there are freak injuries which we cannot prevent, but most of the time if we have followed this, then probably we reduce the incidence of injury in a badminton player approximately about 50%. So this is about prevention of injuries. So thank you one and all for giving attentive ears to listening to all this prevention of injuries. Next, my colleague Kiran will be leading in further topics.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Johnson, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Kiran, sir, I'm giving host. Just 1 minute, sir. Yes, sir. Now you can see it, sir. Kiran, sir.
Okay, Bhaskar. So
Yes,
can
sir.
you see now?
Yeah, sir. I can see your screen, sir.
Okay. Good
Okay,
afternoon, all coaches. Welcome to this session of injuries from the physio session on injuries. जितना तक हो सके मैं थोड़ा हिंदी में भी मिक्स अप करूंगा. English and Hindi I'll try to sort it out. I've been with this Indian badminton team since December 2008. So whatever topic I've decided, the main topic is badminton injuries and treatment advices, mainly based on on-field coaches and trainer perspective. That means now Johnson has talked more from scientific language and medical language and physio language point of view. I will talk mainly from coach's point of view, because we can talk about physios and all those, but practically many of you are working in academies and state and district levels where probably physio facility may not be there. So as a coach, how can you understand about injuries and how can you prevent them or solve them? ठीक है, क्योंकि मैं ये हिंदी में भी जस्ट आई एम रिपीटिंग दिस. बोथ कोचेस जो भी आप रह रहे हैं, आप स्टेट और नेशनल डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल और स्टेट लेवल में रहते, नहीं तो एकेडमी में रहते जिधर शायद फिजियो या ट्रेनर का फैसिलिटीज नहीं है. तो एज ए कोच आप कैसे कर सकते हैं, कैसे इंजरीज को आइडेंटिफाई कर सकते हैं, कौन सा टाइप ऑफ इंजरीज और कैसे सॉल्यूशन बता सकते, ये मैं किया था. So this is based on my on-field experience as a sports physio. क्योंकि हम research बोल सकते, we can talk about researches, but I feel in sports, on-field experience is more important than theoretical knowledge or scientific knowledge. So based on this, I've made this, this presentation. So we'll start. So first type of injuries we call about traumatic or sudden onset injuries. नहीं तो accidental injuries बोलेंगे हम, we can talk, which means suddenly something happened, which means players can talk about specific movement. I have done that specific movement, मैं वो पीछे जा रहा था, suddenly ankle twist हुआ. That means they will be able to say one specific incident. Those are something we call as traumatic sudden onset injuries. These will be again we can make them into two types, severe injuries and less severe injuries. Severe injuries, examples, I think if you can see these pictures, you can understand. ये जो भी yellow t-shirt में ये Gabriel Adcock है, शायद if at all you have followed PBL, Premier Badminton League, अगर आप follow कर रहे तो last year चेन्नई टीम को खेलते टाइम पे ये नीचे देखिए, मैं माउस का कर्सर के साथ दिखा रहा हूँ, ankle injury suddenly. फिर ये right side में, I think few of you must have noticed this, Carolina Marin in last year Indonesia Open final Saina Nehwal के साथ खेल रही थी, उसके knee injury incidents, which means क्या हुआ था, suddenly severe twist happens in this, suddenly severe movement will happen. So these injuries we call them as traumatic severe injuries. इसको you can see this sudden severe pain after a specific movement. Player को if you ask them how did you have this injury, they will be able to say specifically वो movement में suddenly specific हुआ था. And there will be swelling and change of skin color, and swelling will also be usually, I mean, when any player comes to me, if they say I've twisted my ankle, is it severe or not, generally what I do is I tell them to wait for 3 to 5 minutes. In first 3 to 5 minutes, if swelling happens, it's a very bad sign. Remember that one. Okay, so I'm not someone into go. I mean, icing is very important, no doubt about that. But first 3 to 4 minutes generally will give us a lot of information about severity of injury. So 2-3 मिनट में अगर सूजन स्वेलिंग आ गया, नहीं तो स्किन कलर चेंज हो रहा है, ब्लैक हो रहा है, नहीं तो डार्क ब्लू हो रहा है, इट्स ए वेरी वेरी बैड साइन. समझिए कि वो सीवियर ट्रॉमेटिक इंजरी है. And player might hear, a third point, player might hear a click sound, a pop sound at the time of injury. Player बताएंगे, I twisted my ankle, कुछ ऐसा sound आ गया था. I heard a click sound, नहीं तो pop sound. English language में click and pop बोलेंगे, but general player will say, I've twisted and suddenly. Back में भी, मैं आगे lift करने को shuttle को आगे गया था, suddenly back में कुछ sound आया था, back पकड़ लिया. Which is like, if there is any and immediately within couple of minutes if there is swelling, remember it is a bad sign of injury, traumatic injury. Isko treatment, how to do about treatment. I think those who have attended these sports science sessions evening 5 to 6, I think few have mentioned about police. They have said about pehle it used to be ice here, ice hai, now police, which means protection, optimal loading and icing. But in these severe injuries, protection, okay, optimal loading, which means what does the police concept say? Optimal loading means thoda loading come karke you can do. But remember, in this traumatic severe incidents, no police, it's only price. That means protection, rest, ice, compression, elevation. इसमें बिल्कुल risk मत लेना चाहिए. And जो भी है severe injuries I have seen, practically even if you make the players play, generally they are not able to play. I can talk about many injuries क्योंकि tournaments session में okay we can talk about like ठीक है injuries हो रहे तो we can give rest, but tournament में क्या करना है? Tournament में immediately we can give them some protection and let's hope for the best. एक ही एक ऐसा reasonably moderate to severe injury में एक ही successful match जो भी हुआ, जो भी मुझे याद है, HS प्रणय का 2018 एशियन गेम टीम इवेंट में वो क्रिस्टी जोनाथन के साथ ankle twist हुआ, but फिर भी I have suggested थोड़ा severe लग रहा है, but he said नहीं भैया I want to play, so we have done the taping, वो मैच जीता था. But rest all matches whatever I remember, a traumatic injuries में once this injury happened, even with protection if they played, generally they were not able to play. So ये treatment में severe injuries में just आप याद में रखिए, it's not about police, it's about price. That means immediately protection देके फिर rest, ice, compression, elevation. Okay. Healing might take many days to few weeks or months, which means once this happens, straight away think that don't expect too much by tomorrow or day after tomorrow. 1-2 दिन में ज़्यादा miracle मत expect करना है इसमें. बहुत दिन हो सकता है. It might even take few weeks. It might take couple of months also. And what we suggest is for this type of traumatic injuries, better to be on safe side, refer to a medical person. It can be a doctor, it can be physio, naito it can be going for MRI something. In this sudden severe injury, जो भी within 2-3 minutes में swelling आ गया, फिर वो injury के time पे click या pop sound आ गया, उनको general suggestion is refer them to a medical person. Okay? वो severe injuries है. फिर ये traumatic injuries में एक और type का है mild to moderate injuries. ये mild to moderate injuries कैसे हो सकते हैं? Player may or may not remember the exact type of injury, the exact moment of injury. They might say, I mean, typically, जो भी players मुझे बताए थे, players have told me in their language. What I say is, "Bhaiya, I finished my session. I finished stretching. Now I'm feeling a bit of pain." Which means once the body is cooled down, then few injuries will come out. One more thinking is after waking up from sleep, which means okay, morning session 8 to 10, 8 to 11 finished. They had lunch, they slept. Again, when they woke up, then they might say, I'm having pain now. वो session में ज़्यादा याद नहीं था उनको, but फिर भी stretching होने के बाद, माने after 15-20 minutes of injury, कभी-कभी after 3-4 hours, body cool down होने के बाद, नहीं तो evening session is done, they're sleeping, morning when they wake up, they might feel specific stiffness. So these are generally mild to moderate injuries. they may, or जैसे मैं बताया था, they may or may not remember any particular incidents in the session. वो सेशन के टाइम पे एग्जैक्ट मैंने जनरली व्हाट वी आस्क इज हाउ डिड यू गेट दिस इंजरी, डू यू रिमेंबर एनी मूवमेंट. दे मे और मे नॉट से. जनरली दिस कुड बी कंसिडर्ड एज माइल्ड टू मॉडरेट इंजरीज. थोड़ा स्वेलिंग प्लस और माइनस, माइनस स्वेलिंग हो सकता है, नहीं भी हो सकता है. स्वेलिंग है तो भी थोड़ा स्वेलिंग, ज्यादा नहीं. अब इसके लिए ट्रीटमेंट पुलिस है, माने होना है तो प्रोटेक्शन दे सकते हैं, बट ऑप्टिमल लोडिंग. ऑप्टिमल लोडिंग मींस ये प्लेयर्स को फुल सेशन ऑफ देने का जरूरत नहीं. प्लेयर आके बोलेंगे कि आज सुबह सेशन में ऐसा लाइट हुआ, आज इवनिंग सेशन शुड आई डू और नॉट. So if they cannot do 100% session, we can even think about optimal loading, which means थोड़ा load कम करके कर सकते हैं. Of course, icing is important, no doubt, but फिर भी session कर सकते हैं या नहीं कर सकते. These are injuries where yeah, we can even do some session. वो first type of injuries है जो भी traumatic sudden onset, नहीं तो accidental injuries बोलेंगे. Second type of injuries we call it congenital injuries. Congenital means by birth. I think Johnson, my colleague Johnson has covered a bit of this, genetical or congenital, he said. Usually these are injuries by birth, or sometimes they might say we have noticed these injuries after 1 or 2 years. By birth pe nahi, after 1 or 2 years. Kyunki kya hota hai, by birth children may not do much of activity. After 1 year generally they want to do many things. They want to walk, move, hold something. Wo time pe few injuries might be exposed. These are generally congenital injuries. इसका ट्रीटमेंट क्या है? यूजुअली बॉडी अडॉप्ट्स टू दिस सॉर्ट ऑफ डिफॉर्मिटीज. माने एक और टाइप ऑफ मोस्ट कॉमन इंजरी, मोस्ट कॉमन रेस्ट्रिक्शन क्या है? मूवमेंट. आर्म मूवमेंट में रेस्ट्रिक्टेड. सुपनेशन बोलेंगे, ये प्रोनेशन बोलेंगे. हाथ नीचे है तो दिस इज प्रोनेशन, दिस इज सुपनेशन. मेनी few quite most common is restricted elbow movement. But usually what happens is something which is there by birth or since childhood, body usually adapts to these deformities. And kuch medical advice, we can take medical advice and try to give some corrective exercise, but we cannot guarantee the extent of improvement, because these are almost we call as birth anomalies. So we can even try to give some exercises, for nothing wrong in trying, but from medical point of view we cannot guarantee the extent of improvement for these injuries. वो bad, वो negative information है, but positive is usually body adapts to these type of injuries. वो एक सोच सकते हैं. Now third type of injuries, stiffness injuries, माने stretching problem, stiffness injuries. अब इसमें देखिए, I'm giving one example where is like you need to stand straight. From standing straight, touch your toes with your hands. जो भी हम generally stretching में we talk about touching this one. See, this is very good. Where spine is straight and knee is straight, back is straight, and they're trying to touch down. This is very good stretching. Now look at this second picture. Okay, spine is not so straight. वो spine उतना straight नहीं जैसा first picture है, but there is some amount of bending. क्योंकि स्ट्रेचिंग भी हम बोल सकते हैं, बट ऑल मे नॉट हैव परफेक्ट स्ट्रेचिंग, बट दिस इज स्टिल एक्सेप्टेबल. थर्ड टाइप देखिए, इसमें कैन यू सी दिस, देयर इज लॉट ऑफ बेंडिंग इन द बैक, सो दिस इज नॉट एक्सेप्टेबल. विच मीन्स अगर किसी लोगों को 100% परफेक्ट स्ट्रेचिंग नहीं है तो भी थोड़ा एक 10-15% हियर एंड देयर इज आल्सो एक्सेप्टेबल. बट टू वेरी वेरी स्टिफ बॉडीज is not good, especially बैडमिंटन में जो भी आगे बेंड करना है, बैक पे जाना है, शोल्डर मूवमेंट्स करने हैं, पूरे में स्टिफनेस इंजरीज आर वेरी बैड. इसमें भी देखिए, अब ये पूरे में I'll try to explain in this way. So let us say this player's main problem is calf muscle stiffness. इसमें देखिए रेड कलर का ब्लैक एंड रेड पिक्चर में, can you see because of calf muscle stiffness, when he is doing squatting, his knees are going in front of the toes, and whenever he is doing, his neck is also bending forward. This picture also, if you can see, because of calf muscle stiffness, okay, knee thoda manage kiya to bhi back bending will happen. Kyunki this we call it as, hum medical term mein we call it as principle of relative flexibility. Kyunki ek area mein thoda stiff hai to usko compensate karne ke liye बॉडी में दूसरे एरियाज एक्स्ट्रा मूवमेंट करना है. क्योंकि मुझे मैं शटल आगे लेके व्हाट यू से एक मूवमेंट लिफ्ट करना है. लिफ्टिंग मूवमेंट में मेरा हैमस्ट्रिंग स्टिफ है, हैमस्ट्रिंग फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी इज इंपॉर्टेंट टू बेंड डाउन, बट मेरा हैमस्ट्रिंग स्टिफ है तो क्या होगा, बैक पे नहीं तो किसी जगह पे एक्स्ट्रा स्ट्रेच होगा, वो hamstring stiffness को compensate करने के लिए. This is called as, some medical terminology में बोलेंगे, principle of relative flexibility. माने if one area is stiff, to compensate that other area will become too much flexible, yeah, over flexible, which is again not good. So this is what this, especially second picture, I want you to say that हम sports में, in sports, one area stiffness might lead to other area stiffness, which means they might say after squats I am getting back pain. The reason might not be too much of weight. The reason might be because calf muscle is stiff, they are bending their back to do the squat, which is giving the problem. So that's what is about this one. This one more picture which you can see. First we look at this right side one, good one. Can you see shoulders are very flexible, back is straight, very good. Can you look at this left side picture? इसमें shoulders are very stiff, but फिर भी मुझे टॉस मारना है, नहीं तो ड्रॉप करना है, शोल्डर ऊपर उठाना है, तो शोल्डर ऊपर उठाना ही पड़ेगा, लेकिन शोल्डर जॉइंट स्टिफ है, तो क्या होगा, इधर बैक पे हाइपरलॉर्डोसिस हुआ, वही बोल रहे, क्योंकि एक जगह पे स्टिफ है, तो टू कॉम्पेंसेट दैट अदर एरिया विल टेक ओवरलोड, so much of load. तो इसीलिए this is what we call it. इसीलिए sometimes few players might say, whenever I do backcourt strokes, 10 minutes if I do backcourt strokes, I get back pain. वो backcourt strokes में ठीक है, smash मार रहा है तो थोड़ा body पे ज़्यादा load पड़ रहा है, which we can understand. But when I play drops and tosses also, I get back pain. The reason may not be so much thinking about session. The problem could be in stiffness issue, where because shoulder is stiff, they're moving their back too much during the session. So these all are stiffness injuries. And these next 2 points are very important. If flexibility is not there for a badminton players, it will lead to early overuse and biomechanical injuries at later stages of career. Because few players might say, I mean, generally, जो भी some players हैं, जो भी Europeans को देख रहे हैं, European players को देख रहे, generally what they might say is, I've seen these European players, they don't stretch much or something. But remember one thing, first 2 years, 3 years, when your body is young, till 21, 22, 23, 24, it might be okay. But later stages of career, body will give very bad, body will react in very bad way. Body jaldi overuse will happen very fast. Biomechanical injuries will happen. So that's why stretching is very, very, very important for badminton players. And second, you can also see this one, next point. Stiff muscle will take more time to recover, and they need more energy and hydration to function. Stiff muscles jo bhi hai, they will not recover. Sometimes you might say these people are not recovering well. That's why what we say is after session, stretching is very important, because if muscles are stiff, recovery will take more time and they need more energy and more hydration to function. So that's why stretching is important. So treatment is stretching, and there is also some other concept like which stretching can we add some more strengthening, it might give much better result. Because we need to add the strengthening of antagonist muscle. Agonist, antagonist, I'll talk in the later slides. But simple thing is that's what stiff muscles hai to career will shorten. Definitely, there is no doubt about that. It's not about end of career. During career, recovery will be very slow. Keep that in mind. And they need more energy, more water. Generally, देखिए stiff players जो भी है, they will sweat a lot. बहुत जल्दी पसीना आते रहता है. It's because of stiff muscles. They need more time. So especially this is something which you can play. I mean, I'll not say you, but coaches who are dealing with younger players, especially below 15, 16 of years, good stretching during childhood and teenage. Teenage means at least till 16, 17, 18, 19 is very, very important. Remember that. Below 16, below 17, below 18, agar stretching improve nahi kar sakta hai to think that you are some amount of their career is reduced straight away. And coaches dealing with younger players, especially below 16 years of age, should look for basic body movements of the children. I think few have asked about at what age stretching is important like that. See, again, Gopi sir to बताए थे ये growth spur के बारे में, नहीं evening sports science sessions में I guess you are seeing. See, growth spur happens is girls generally maybe about 8 to 12 years or boys maybe 9 to 13, something like that. See, what happens is if we don't stretch the muscles in childhood, Once the growth spurt start, what happens is bones will grow very fast. So when bones are growing very fast, again stretching the muscles will become difficult. Remember, so when is stretching very easy for us before the growth stops. इसीलिए generally हम क्या बोलेंगे, gymnastics during childhood is one of the what you say mother of sports or father of sports बोलेंगे. क्योंकि in gymnastics simple thing is stretching we do a lot of stretching we do. That's why remember this. Coaches dealing with younger people, especially below 16 years of age, अगर आप थोड़ा stretching, what will I say, strengthening time थोड़ा कम किया तो भी चलेगा, but stretching time don't ignore. I guess yesterday Gopi sir mentioned about we need roughly 4 hours of stretching in a week to improve the flexibility. I think Gopi sir said, which means अगर session के बाद 5 minutes कर रहे, daily morning 5 minutes, evening 5 minutes, 10 minutes in a week, we are hardly doing 1 hour. That means 1/4 of stretching ही हो रहा है. अगर golden rule 4 hours है तो. And second, एक और मैं किया था. One more what I mentioned, coaches look for basic body movements of children. Basic body movements means what? You can look at this one. So during childhood, they should be able to do full squats without lifting that one. Of course, basic A position, we can even do full squat. But I like this picture against the wall. Because क्या होता है full squat में, if we do normally, knees can come forward. But in this, if you can see, toe is there, knees cannot come forward, body cannot bend forward. So players को थोड़ा आपको cheating करने का, while doing this movement, players trying to do cheating is difficult. So these movements, a good player means they should be able to do full squat in this way. Yeah. I can also see some of these what you say questions. So questions मैं बाद में आऊँगा. I've also noted some of the questions. बाद में आऊँगा. This second is of course ये full squat, stretching, flexibility जो भी है. This generally gives us reasonable. I'll talk about 2-3 basic things. Standing, knee straight and touching the toes. Bending and touching the toes. This is one basic movement everyone should do. ये position में नहीं तो ये picture में जो भी मैं बताया था against wall ऐसा रख के full squat करना है. ये दोनों किया तो basic most of the leg and spine flexibility is covered in those two. अब shoulder के लिए you can see this one. ऐसे ये position में दोनों at least players should be able to touch or else at least hold like this. ये नहीं है तो shoulder problem, neck problem, upper back problem पूरा आएगा. This one I really like this one more one. You can see this. Why big guys cannot scratch their back. That gives us a lot of information. Why big guys cannot scratch. Big का मतलब मोटे नहीं, muscular. Even muscular people are not able to scratch their back. क्योंकि क्या होता है? See, if we don't concentrate on stretching below 8 or 9 years, अगर growth पर start हुआ तो body is growing. So muscles, generally bones will go faster, muscle will grow a bit slower. Once that growth spurt stops, then immediately testosterone levels will pick up, which means that is the time to improve your strength. And once you improve your strength, you are trying to improve the strength, you are trying to improve the flexibility. So result kaise hoga doubtful hai. And also keep this in mind, both players during childhood they'll be very flexible, but once they become muscular, flexibility kam ho jayegi, which means if you are giving more strength in your training, remember more stretching is also important. Naito once muscle bulk develops during strengthening time, muscles will become more and more stiff. Keep that in mind. Very important, especially for people dealing with below 15-16 years. That is about stiffness injuries. Next we talk about weakness or technique related injuries. I think yesterday Agu's coach also mentioned, and which is again biomechanics also says, kal Agu's coach bhi bataye the, if good technique, career will prolong. Okay? If there is good technique, career will prolong. He mentioned about that both saal pehle players used to stop at 26, 27 because they used to play physical. But आजकल technique better हो रहे तो players are good technique players can play till about 35, 36 जैसा गोपी सर भी बताए थे, लिंडन या ली चोंग के example लेके, people who are good technique can prolong their career. ये technique माने क्या है? The simple logic is good technique means in a movement maximum load should be taken by muscle. So whenever they are doing the movement can be playing on court or the movement can be during weights, during agility, all those. Maximum load should be taken by muscles. Okay? That is the one. I mean, again, a lunging करते time पे basic rule what we say is knee, when we are doing lunging, knee should not go in front of the toes. Because once knees goes in front of the toes, thigh muscle quadriceps is not taking the load. The load is going to knee joint. Why we say good technique, muscles, maximum load should be taken by the muscles is muscles will recover very fast in the body. Muscles can recover in 1 or 2 hours, but joints and bone recover might take few days or few months, 1 week also. इसीलिए अगर bones और joints पे ज़्यादा load है तो they might take more. So, and ये one more important thing. Good technique means in a movement maximum load should be taken by muscles and large movement should be done by bigger or proximal muscle. Small movement should be done by smaller muscle. ये proximal distal ठीक है. Proximal माने ये है बड़ा वाला. Distal माने ये जैसा calf, ankle, wrist. Yeah, this is the meaning of distal. So large movements should be done by bigger muscles, yeah, proximal muscles. Small movement should be done by smaller muscles. I'll give you one example. If you want to hit a smash, हम क्या बोलेंगे smash में? Open fully. क्योंकि open full किया तो क्या होगा? All these muscles are coming into picture, which means large muscles come. अगर open नहीं किया, they're trying to hit smash like this. उसमें क्या होगा? You are trying to do a large movement with small muscle. वो coordination नहीं हो रहा है. Very, very high chances of injury. Even अगर हम skipping कर रहे, skipping is not a very big movement. So skipping में we can make them do with calf muscle. But tuck jumps कर रहे, tuck jump is a big muscle. Tuck jumps cannot be done by calf muscle. Tuck jumps में abs आना चाहिए और ये भी आना चाहिए. So which means good technique means maximum load should be taken by muscles. And obviously minimum load should be taken by joints, bones, cartilage, ligament. So that's the reason why weakness, that's why what we say is weakness. अगर weak है तो, अगर muscles weak है तो आपको technique आना मुश्किल है, क्योंकि अगर muscles weak है तो muscles may not do the movement, which means load will go to joints, bones, ligament, cartilage. I'll give you some examples. इसमें देखिए जब भी आप lunging कर रहे, look at this good technique picture. If you can see good technique means obviously knee should not go so much in front of the toe. You can see neck, shoulder, spine, back leg, knee, all should be in one good line. अगर bad technique है तो देखिए if they're falling forward, this is bad technique. नहीं तो too much straight भी नहीं है, which means loading is happening here. Bad technique. And correct means you can also see this. This one is there. It should be like this. Both pelvis should be in equal line. I think day before yesterday evening when Sports Science Center में Dr. Joseph जो भी है who is talking about running, he talked about this also. While we are doing this, both shoulders should be parallel, both pelvis should be parallel. ये T line में आना better है. You can see these are like incorrect technique. I am just trying to say, अगर muscles weak है तो, if muscles cannot do the movement or they cannot take the load, some wrong movements will happen and load will be taken by ligaments, bones, joints, which is very bad sign. This also, if you can see, players go. These are again some of the examples. जैसा if full squat, अगर half squat कर रहे, ऐसा हो रहा है, back ऐसा हो रहा है, तो back पे load पड़ रहा है. You can see this one. If quadricep, if flexibility problem or some issue, technique related, knee is going too much in front of the toes. You can even see while doing squat. Yeah, this picture is very good one, which you can see. See, he is doing with very, very heavy squats. But फिर भी you can see this one. Quadriceps load, quadriceps is not taking the load. And glutes are not taking the load. Entire load is going into knee joint. So some players might say that, if at all I'm doing very heavy training, still मेरा muscle strength नहीं हो रहा है. We should try to see कि whenever they are doing those good gym or good exercise, are they doing with good technique, which means is the strength going to muscles or is the load going into joints? That is something which we should see. And yeah, because why I'm showing you these 4 or 5, these pictures, why I'm showing you lunges pictures I've shown you, and I've also shown you about squats. I'm showing you about planks, क्योंकि these are exercises which most of us do regularly for badminton. इसमें भी देख लीजिए, plank, this technique is good, but if अगर hip नीचे जा रहे, can you see extra load on the calf, extra load on ankle, extra load on back, extra load on the neck. Agar hip, if hip is going too high, can you see extra load on this one, hip, extra load on the neck, even knee पे भी ज़्यादा load होगा. So always remember, good technique is important and strength is also important. Now solution क्या है? You are trying to give some, you are trying to give strengthening. If players are having weakness, what is the solution? Generally, couple of things, maybe these are logical ones. Reduce the load. That means reduce the repetitions or times. Maybe if you are dealing with 20 children, 10 children are having good strength, 10 children are having less strength. You are telling them to do full squats. Tell them good strength people do 20 repetitions, lesser strength do 10 repetitions. Got that one? Straight away reduce the load. मैं ये नहीं बोल रहा हूँ कि exercise change करने को, उनको separate करने को. नहीं तो increase the rest time, reduce the time. अगर plank position we are doing for 30 seconds. If they cannot do, those who cannot do, stop in 20 only, 20 seconds only. And give more rest between the sets. So either reduce the repetition or time or give more rest. One more important is quality versus quantity of movement. This is very, very important, because what I generally advise is, see, if you're trying to give some exercise to a player, especially children, first they might not be able to do with good technique. So generally what we say is, first 1 or 2 sessions, if they're doing with bad technique, don't just try to change too many things. Give them quantity, क्योंकि कभी-कभी क्या होगा, you keep on doing that one, थोड़ा strength बढ़ेगा, and then maybe you can, quality might improve. Some players are something like quality versus quantity, but remember this is something which we can do in children. माने बच्चों में टेक्निक थोड़ा गड़बड़ है तो भी at least 5-6 sessions continue कीजिए exercise. Even after 5 or 6 sessions, अगर उनका टेक्निक अच्छा नहीं हो रहा है, then maybe either reduce the load, give more rest period to do this one. I think there are some questions about, can you give these PowerPoint slides? We'll give. आज शाम को नहीं तो कल तक जॉनसन का और मेरा PPT slides we'll give to Bhaskar. Bhaskar will forward those to you. So first 1 or 2 sessions only, if technique is wrong, just don't try to think so much. In seniors, it's different. Seniors में first session we try to give good quality. Technique सिखाएंगे. Technique के बाद we'll try to include the load. But children में first session में technique अच्छा नहीं है तो भी first 2-3 sessions, that's okay. We can wait for 4, 5 or 6 sessions maximum. Still, if technique is going wrong, then you can change the load. One more option क्या है? अगर technique अच्छा नहीं हो रहा है, then give easier variation exercise. Easier variation माने क्या है? Push-ups we are doing. अगर push-ups they are not able to do, tell them to do knee push-ups. थोड़ा load बढ़ रहा है. Knee push-ups also they are not able to do, tell them to do wall push-ups, which means give easier variation. I am not trying to say that if they cannot do push-ups, no need of stopping push-ups. Push-ups एक exercise नहीं कर सकता है तो players exercise बंद करने का जरूरत नहीं, उसका easier variation कर सकते हैं. जैसा push-ups है. And one more is like this one. If they cannot do deep squat, full squat, give them to half squat. Half squat nahi hai to quarter squat. So at least 4 or 5 sessions we can do this one. If not, then we can go to these ones. So इसीलिए आप repetitions कम कीजिए, नहीं तो थोड़ा easier type of exercises भी दिखा सकते हैं. Bhaskar, another 10 minutes लगेगा. I think I am going beyond time. Is it okay?
Yeah, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay. Session, I think it's almost getting lunch time, and I am also having session at 2:30. मुझे भी 2:30 एक और session है, online session.
कोई बात नहीं, sir. Participant are 600. Okay, sir. You can continue the section, sir.
Next type of injury क्या है? Session preparedness related to injury. I think first we talk about some injury happens, traumatic injury in a session. कभी-कभी अगर if any injury happens in your training session, it's not always because of bad training program. Session में program के वजह से नहीं. Player is not ready. Player is not prepared for the session. Not prepared माने क्या है? Warm up or recovery related injury. Recovery because of previous session. Generally warm up or recovery related injuries, when will they happen? Injuries happen in the first few minutes of a session. First 5-10 minutes में कुछ injury हो. First 10 minutes में मुझे ankle twist हुआ. First 10 minutes में मेरा muscle पकड़ लिया. नहीं तो today I am having 400 meters sprint. First 400 meters 5 repetitions करना है. First repetition में मुझे muscle catch हुआ. it's definitely warm up related. वो लोग warm up ठीक से नहीं करे. There is no what you say excuse for this. ये types of injury excuse नहीं. Players warm up related. नहीं तो previous session के वजह से recovery नहीं हुआ. And fitness related injuries, वो fitness strength problem हो सकता है, endurance problem हो सकता है, whatever it is. Fitness related injuries happen in the final stages of a session. ठीक है? I'll give one small example. Of course, player का नाम लेना अच्छा नहीं है. It's not good to take the player's name, but I'll take. There are two girls. One girl, at least, she had ACL injury when she is playing third game, 18 all, 19 all. She twisted and she had ACL injury. I'll give the name of this player, Sikki Reddy. Sikki Reddy ka ACL knee twist हुआ, it's this one. So this injury happened third game, 18 all, 19 all. शायद वो tournament, I think she was playing national level in Nellore or Ongole, something in that place. She was doing this one. So these injuries happen at the end stages of career, end stages of a session. Remember, it's mainly fitness or strength related. Warm up or recover related injuries. And I also know one player. वो player आके बोलते first game for a dribble, knee or ACL gone. अब first 4-5 minutes में injury हुआ तो it's not fitness related, it's mainly warm up related. नहीं तो अगर कल का session बहुत severe हुआ, body is very tired, body is not recovered. So think of this, which stage में injury हो रहा है. First few minutes में injury हो रहा है, extra warm up करना चाहिए. नहीं तो session 8 o'clock start हो रहा है morning, come at 7:30, do extra stretching, माने extra recovery करना चाहिए. Final stages में of the session में injuries हो रहा है, think that they need to do some more, they need to improve their strength or fitness. Yeah. So next, overload injuries. Overload injuries means what I'll say is, I'll talk about this one. Players' language may I'll talk about this one. Some players will come and say, because I mean, what we say is, if you are training at 90%, क्योंकि injuries से डर के हम training 90% कर रहे. Improve माने, we talk about players should improve their fitness. Improve means what? Go beyond 100%. But if you are scared of injuries and if you are giving 90%, so 90% will be like this. You are giving 90%, 90% will be like this. You are giving 90%. So 90% will not be 90%. तो कम होते जाएगा. तो कभी-कभी हम sessions में push करेंगे players को. So players will come and say, sir, sessions are very heavy. बहुत ज्यादा हुआ, ऐसा किया तो मुझे कुछ injuries हो सकते. So how can you know कि whatever sessions you are giving, जो भी sessions में training आप दे रहे, वो sessions आप push कर रहे तो भी safe zone में जा रहे क्या, नहीं तो danger zone में जा रहे क्या. Overload कभी हो रहे, if more players of a batch, माने आप 20 players को training कर रहे, same दे रहे, are getting similar type of injuries or stiffness in same area. मैं 20 players को मैं same training दे रहा हूँ, 6 or 7 players को back pain हो रहे हैं. नहीं तो 20 players का I'm giving training, 6 or 7 players they're having knee. That means same type of training करने batch में more players are having similar type of injuries. शायद overload हो रहा है, देख लीजिए. It's about same area. Yesterday heavy session, today one player will come and say I'm having back stiffness. One player will come and say I'm having shoulder stiffness. One will say I'm having knee stiffness. These are okay. Different players, different areas of stiffness, these are okay. But many are complaining and saying same areas पे stiffness हो रहा है session के वजह से. वो शायद overload हो रहा है, आप सोचिए. But it's not about this one. Recovery related, अब players का recovery related. अब बहुत training दे रहे, session दे रहे, 20 players है. Only 1 or 2 players are facing injuries. Generally, it's not about overload. शायद वो players का fitness कम है या वो players का recovery is less. Remember this one. If more players, there is no particular rule, but generally what I say is, if more than 25%, माने अगर 10 players आपके session में है तो almost 3 players are complaining of similar injury. If 20 players are there, almost 6 or 7 players are complaining of similar injury. अगर more than 25% of people are complaining of similar type of area pains, शायद overload हो रहे हैं. अगर only 10% of players are complaining of injuries, आपको training के बाद मुझे knee pain हो रहा है, किसी को नहीं हो रहा है, मुझे हो रहा है. It's that individual player problem. वो individual player treatment या recovery करना है. Don't really get scared of those sorts of these things. You can even continue this. तो उसका क्या है? अगर overload का solution, I think obvious solution है. either reduce or review the training load. अगर आपको लगा कि overload injuries हो रहे हैं, उसका मतलब similar type of pains many players of the same batch में हो रहे हैं, reduce or review that one. Extra recovery या treatments भी करने. माने recovery माने I think Johnson has covered very well about this one. Think of this. Active recovery will be two types. Active recovery, passive recovery. अब active recovery माने क्या है? Extra stretching they can do, extra strengthening they can do, foam rolling. I think many of you have seen this. Good sleep, pre-fuel. Pre-fuel means before session having food. अब many players को, especially I think some of the academies they start at 4:30, 5 o'clock, 5:30 in the morning. So player they just get up and come. Remember this thing. कल रात को अच्छा खाना खाया तो भी yesterday's whole night you are sleeping, which means our body basal metabolic rate is I think BMR, basal metabolic rate means body needs some energy even if you are not doing anything. Even if you are sleeping, body needs some energy. क्योंकि हम even if you are sleeping, our heart should run, lungs काम करना चाहिए, brain काम करना चाहिए, digestion, respiration, excretion. इसीलिए body needs some energy. तो session के पहले थोड़ा extra खाना खा सकते हैं क्या? नहीं तो डाइट में चेंज, हाइड्रेशन, मेडिटेशन, योगा. रिमेंबर ऑल दिस कम अंडर एक्टिव रिकवरी. इसमें कुछ कर सकते हैं, देख लीजिए. देन पैसिव रिकवरी माने ट्रीटमेंट्स, नहीं तो मसाज, नहीं तो आइस बाथ, नहीं तो स्टीम और साना. थिंक ऑफ दिस वन. अगर एक्स्ट्रा रिकवरी हो रहा है तो अगर ओवरलोड फॉर मेनी पीपल इन सेशन इज हैपनिंग, एक सेशन छोड़ के थोड़ा रिक्रिएशन कर दीजिए, एक्स्ट्रा रिकवरी कर दीजिए. इट्स नॉट अबाउट ओवर माने दिस आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट दिस. ये overload माने many people are getting this one. Think of giving some 1 or 2 sessions easy training. अगर recovery 1 or 2 players, everyone should do 1 or 2 players stop the session and do some extra recovery. तो half session ही करके दीजिए. If nothing is happening, then we might need to go for rest. वो ठीक है. Okay. Then finally degenerative या overuse injuries. Usually these overuse injuries happen at the end stages of a career. There is one anecdotal evidence. Anecdotal means no research but general based on experience. If a player plays for more than 10 years of professional sports career, degeneration in the body happens. घुटने में हो सकता है या ligaments में हो सकता है या cartilage में. If player plays more than 10 years of professional sports career, professional training कर रहे तो we cannot really stop degenerative injuries or overuse might happen. So my question is, so is early sports specialization good? Early sports specialization में it means 9 or 10 years में only badminton, 6-7 years में only badminton, which means you are making them professional sports player at the age of 7 or 8, which means शायद 17, 18, 19 में उनका overuse or degenerative injuries start होने का chances है. अगर ये players को stiffness है, नहीं तो weakness है, और जल्दी हो सकता है. ये 10 years में क्या बोल रहा हूँ, if they are having decent stretching and decent strengthening, फिर भी more than 10 years हो सकता है. If you go for early sports specialization, of course, मैं ये नहीं बोल रहा हूँ कि आप करो या ना करो. I'm not saying you do or not do, but you think of this early sports specialization. If you do, they might have very early chances of degenerative injuries. इसीलिए of course badminton training might be sports specific, but off court training में fitness में try to think of, nowadays you must have hearing about this CrossFit, cross training, CrossFit, which means some different type of training. Don't go to badminton specific training at early stages. So this is something which I will leave it to you coaches. मैं ये नहीं बोल रहा हूँ क्योंकि sometimes as a coaches you might be having pressure that pressure from parents and children कि मुझे my children should get result in under 13 only, नहीं तो मैं बंद करूँगा. So you might be having some practical issues, but think of this one. Early sports specialization, on court, off court, badminton specific जल्दी कर रहे तो, बचपन में कर रहे तो शायद उनको if they continue sport later stages of career में they might have early degenerative injuries. ठीक है. अब last 2-3 slides फिर आएंगे सब last maybe few minutes. Stages of injury, जैसे अभी now all of us are in coronavirus this thing, so all of our areas are divided into green zone, orange zone, red zone. I think all of us have got this green zone, orange zone, red zone. मैं अभी red zone में हूँ. I'm stuck in the red zone. I came to my native place and I'm stuck in the red zone. So injuries में भी let's talk of green zone injury. इसका मतलब player is having injury. Player is having injury. फिर भी is this injury in green zone? Is this injury in orange zone? Is this injury in red zone में क्या कैसा पता करना है? Green zone injuries क्या है? They will be having some injury or some pain, but warm up karne ke baad they are okay. After morning when I get up, I get this. So generally I talk about this. When you wake up also you're getting this. Let's decide after warm up. Many of the time I'll say after warm up you let me know. After warm up it's better. Full session mein mujhe kuch problem hai. These are like green zone injuries. So these injuries, even it's like no need of really getting scared about this one. So stage 1 green zone injuries, pain gets better after warm up. Ab orange zone injuries kya hai? There will be pain and then pain increases during session, but fine immediately once the session finishes. First pain nahi, session kelte thoda pain thoda bad raha hai. What happens after session? Immediately after session I am fine, no problem. These are orange zone injuries, 50-50. You want to make them continue the session or you want to stop them, 50-50 sessions. Now red zone injuries kya hai? I am having some pain, I am having more pain. Even after my session finishes, even after 15-20 minutes of session finishing also, still I am having pain. मेरा session खत्म हुआ, session खत्म हो के आधा घंटा हुआ, still भी अभी pain है. These are red zone injuries. These injuries we need to consider. Consider means either reduce the load or else नहीं तो उनको treatments extra करने, those uses. So these are 3 zones of injuries. Better after warm up. Second zone, session में बढ़ते जाएगा, but session खत्म हुआ, they are better. Red zone injuries, you need to stop. If pain is more, once even after session stops, after half an hour also pain is continuing. The last 2 sides about training advices. We all are dealing, because many of the coaches dealing with academies and all this, you don't have exclusive trainers or hi-fi trainers. So whatever training advices we can give. See, different players have different technique. And they use different type of kinetic muscles or kinetic chain. The kinetical chain technique language. What I'll say is I'll give an example between running and badminton. Running sport is only unidirectional sport. Nahi to weightlifting hai, it's unidirection. Weight utana hai, it's one direction. Running we 100 meter sprint, one direction. But badminton is something where we need to move in all directions. Front, back, diagonal, diagonal, back diagonal, back diagonal, bending, jumping, which means we use all muscles in our body. These are the ones. Because some players use, I'll go one by one picture. Some players use this black line. Agar mera cursor dikh raha hai to, some players use these muscles while smashing. I'll give one example. Straight away aapko easy karne ke liye. At least ab current Indian men's mein, some of the biggest smashes are Satvik Sairaj. Satvik Sairaj Ranki Reddy hai, uska bada smash hai. Srikanth Kidambi, bada smash hai. Ab Satvik Sairaj ka smash mein, I'm talking about initial stages of career. Abhi baat nahi kar raha hu. Jab Satvik Sairaj bada smash starting mein career mein ho raha tha, he used to use mainly these muscles. Side ka zyada use nahi kar raha. Uska smash mein he uses close to the body. Ye close to the body, ye muscles zyada use karta tha. अब श्रीकांत को when he hits smash, he uses these muscles more. ये करेंगे हम, because I have also done good research in cricket fast bowlers में research किया था. We call them like front on action and side on action. जैसा कि कपिल देव bowling में देखिए आप, side on action में आएगा. ईशांत शर्मा का bowling देखिए, हम थोड़ा front on chest रखेगा. ऐसा different actions है. Badminton में technically those are not defined actions, but फिर भी बोल रहा हूँ. Which means मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ? बड़ा स्मैश करने के लिए भी डिफरेंट मसल्स का जरूरत है. कुछ लोग बॉडी के क्लोज मसल्स को ज्यादा यूज करेंगे, कुछ लोग ऑब्लिक मसल्स को यूज करेंगे, कुछ लोग रोटेशन मसल्स को यूज करेंगे. सो ऑल टाइप्स ऑफ मसल्स आर इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर अ बैडमिंटन प्लेयर. परफॉर्मेंस मसल्स है. वन टाइप ऑफ मसल्स आर परफॉर्मेंस मसल, व्हिच मींस चेस्ट, बेंच प्रेस. मुझे पुश अप बेंच प्रेस क्योंकि मुझे स्मैश मारना है, ड्राइव मारना है. यस, दोस आर परफॉर्मेंस मसल्स. वेरी गुड. Next is balancing or balance muscles or reverse muscles or controlling muscles. We call it antagon. See, what happens is, if it is like a shot put or discus throw में if they once they throw, वो लोग आगे गिर गया तो भी चलेगा क्योंकि इट्स यूनिडायरेक्शनल स्पोर्ट. बट हमें क्या है, स्मैश मारने के बाद गिर गया तो फिर नेक्स्ट थ्रो के लिए मुश्किल है. माने फ्रंट में नेट के पास आके वो गिर गया तो नेक्स्ट स्ट्रोक के लिए रेडी होना मुश्किल है. विच मीन्स वो स्मैश मारना इस परफॉर्मेंस मसल. आप सोचिए तो आगे गिरने के लिए कंट्रोल करने वाला पीछे मसल्स है. वी कॉल देम बैलेंसिंग मसल्स और कंट्रोलिंग मसल्स और एंटागोनिस्ट मसल्स, व्हाट वी से. एंड फाइनली वी टॉक अबाउट कोर मसल्स. ये कोर मसल्स मेनली जो भी है, these are mainly like medical or physio related one, but फिर भी मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ, core muscles are mainly related to injury prevention, which means a badminton में performance muscles चाहिए, balance muscles चाहिए, controlling muscles. एक performance को balance करने के लिए पीछे muscle चाहिए. अगर biceps कर रहे हैं तो biceps को control करने के लिए triceps चाहिए. अगर thigh quadriceps कर रहे हैं तो quadriceps control करने के लिए hamstring चाहिए compulsory. So my advice is for a players, a heading देखिए, for a player's long and minimal injury career, injury free career, practically we should not use the term, injury कम करने के लिए, very important is give variety of exercises in different directions. Think of every exercise, can you do this exercise in front movement, in back movement, inside, outside, up, down, twisting or rotation, and also give with different speed. So exercise will be same, but think, can I give this exercise in different directions and different speeds? मैं क्या बात कर रहा हूँ उसके बारे में? I'm giving example. Let's go to plank. Plank हम करेंगे. So plank, think you are giving front. Think, can I give side plank, reverse plank? Which means क्या हो रहा है? Planks में, and one more plank position में थोड़ा T push-up या T plank बोलेंगे. Which means we are giving rotations. इसमें क्या होगा? Body entire balance happens, because badminton sport is not only about strength. Strength is important. It's also about balance. Ab work भी हम sit-ups कर रहे हैं. Sit-ups के साथ back-ups भी कीजिए, side abs भी कीजिए, rotation भी, obliques भी कीजिए, back obliques भी कीजिए. Think of giving exercises in different directions with different speed. अब shoulder out chest, हम shoulder press करेंगे, side press करेंगे. आगे भी सोचे shoulder press, side भी सोचे, फिर पीछे भी bend रख के shoulder का पीछे muscles भी सोचे. And ये up and down बोल रहा हूँ. Up and down माने bench press माने sorry shoulder press कर रहे हैं. Down उसको lat pull down भी कीजिए, क्योंकि shoulder is not about only up, it's also about down movement also. हम jumps कर रहे हैं, we are doing jumps. Jumps के साथ landing भी, squat position में control करना भी सिखाइए. And also vary the speeds. Don't only think of directions, think of varying the speed also. क्योंकि what generally happens is, I'll just go to this previous slide. We are talking about performance muscles. Performance muscles typically need fast movement, but controlling muscles typically need slow movement. Injury prevention muscles need lot of endurance. तो इसीलिए speed भी change कीजिए. जैसे you are doing squats, ठीक है, squats fast कीजिए, थोड़ा slow भी, 5 seconds down, 5 seconds up, नहीं तो 5 seconds down, fast. Which means you also vary the speed, क्योंकि exercise might be same, depending on the speed, different muscles will also act. अब एक और वेरिएशन का lunges front lunges करेंगे, back lunges भी कीजिए, front lunges, back lunges भी कीजिए, side lunges भी कीजिए, फिर oblique lunges, okay, फिर oblique lunges, different directions सोचते रहेंगे training में. And especially this becomes very, very, very important in childhood, in childhood and teens बोलेंगे, क्योंकि once we go to 18-19 years, generally performance muscles पे ज़्यादा ध्यान होगा. तो बचपन में think of lot of variety of exercises. And finally agility movement. Agility अगर tapping कर रहे हैं, front and back tapping भी कीजिए, ये भी कीजिए, ये jumps भी हैं, ये jumps भी कीजिए. So think of doing जो भी exercises आप दे रहे training session पे, exercise will be same. एक plank exercise ही हो सकता है, different directions में कर सकते हैं क्या, different speeds में, sit-ups भी कर रहे हैं, fast करना है क्या, नहीं तो slow sit-ups करना है क्या. Think of giving exercise in different directions and different speeds. Okay, thank you. That is about my main, this presentation about this one. Trying to give you some inputs about coaches. If you don't have facilities of physios or like that, as a coach's point of view, how can you do this one? Okay, thank you. And first, let me thank Sports Authority of India also, because they are doing wonderful job in conducting these online sessions, and Badminton Association of India and Gopi sir for giving me this job, and players where I have been there, as I've said, my 2008 December se players ke saath have been wonderful thing. And finally, Mr. Bhaskar also, because he's doing very well in in managing the sessions and conducting the sessions, even if the numbers are 700, 800.
Thank you, sir.
So special thanks to Bhaskar also. Okay,
thank you, sir. Thank you, Kiran sir. Thank you, Jushan sir. Participants asking a lot of doubts, sir. Can you clarify, sir?
Yeah, just when Johnson was taking the session, there were few doubts. I'll talk about them.
Yes, sir. I'm unmuting both of you, sir.
Okay.
Just
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Johnson, sir. Your mic also unmuted, sir.
Yeah. There is one question I came across. एक क्वेश्चन आया था, किसी ने पूछा था कि रिकवरी दो गेम्स के बीच में, मतलब रिकवरी शायद वो पूछना चाह रहे थे कि दो मैच के बीच में, जैसे क्वालिफाई राउंड में जो टाइम बहुत कम होता है उसके बारे में शायद वो पूछना चाह रहे थे. तो इफ यू हैव अ बैक टू बैक मैचेस इन बिटवीन व्हाट वी कैन डू. So that was his question. तो उसके बारे में बताना चाहता हूँ कि probably like after the first match is getting over, so what they can do is probably they can do a cool down, good stretching and cool down. Later they should have some good food. I mean to say, whatever it is needed and whatever it is there with them, they can have that good food and probably go for a quick nap, maybe half an hour or 45 minutes. अगर सो सकते हैं तो अच्छी बात है. उसके बाद में immediately after a shower, then probably get up and have one quick shower and probably come and do a warm up and get ready for the second session. So this is the answer for somebody who asked for back to back matches.
And
okay,
Johnson, also take one more question. There was question about dynamic stretching versus static stretching, which we do before the session. अब stretching के बारे में जो भी I am talking might be a bit controversial, but फिर भी I'll say, see, stretching before session or before playing, stretching is very important. If you do static stretching, speed might reduce something. But I'll say for badminton, what we might say is we can start with static stretches, then we can do warm up. उसके बाद dynamic stretches are also fine. But one problem with this is जो भी मैं देखा था, body is fully cooled down, stretching cannot be 100%. एक बार body warm up हुआ तो then only stretching will be 100%. So you can even start with dynamic ones, you can say, and then we can go to warm up. And that difference between 100-meter sprint versus badminton में, see badminton we always have extra time for warming up, क्योंकि अगर match है समझिए, match में 2 minute warm up time भी है. So worst part is player getting stiff and going to the match is worse, because for us we have warm up also. We have 2 minutes of warm up also. Of course, good warm up, as Johnson said, 30 minutes before the match, good warm up is all important. But I normally say some sort of stretching is very important before a match or before a session. I'll not say immediately. Ab stretching kar lo, warm up kar lo, play is fine. Yeah, first warm up, then dynamic stretching, and going is also fine. But stretching I feel is very, very important before session. Okay. Yeah, Johnson, you want to take one more? Any other question?
So there's one question. किसी ने पूछा है कि directly game के बाद या training के बाद, match के बाद में हम क्यों नहीं सो सकते. So उनके लिए बताना चाह रहा हूँ कि उसके लिए जब आपका ट्रेनिंग होने के बाद में आपके जितने भी फिजिकल एक्टिविटी होने की वजह से there is a lot of hormone which is secreted in the body and the muscle. So because of that, the person cannot go for immediate sleep. So it takes a time to get settled. So probably like half an hour, 45 minutes or 1 hour. So uske baad mein, then as the hormones level comes down, then the person can go for a sleep. That is the next question.
And I think it was about how many times in a week we should do weight training. There was one more question. See, the general thinking is, if we are doing weight training for bigger muscles, there's a chest, shoulder, glutes, quadriceps there. The general logic is weekly once, if you are doing, you are just maintaining the strength. Weekly twice, if you are doing, you are improving, but in a slow way. Weekly thrice, if you are doing, we are improving significantly. अब छोटे-छोटे muscles है, क्योंकि bigger muscles once we do, they need more time to recover. Let's talk about forearm. Forearm are small muscles, they can do daily, no problem. Nothing will happen to this one. So smaller muscle strengthening can be done daily. And जैसा भी मैं बोल रहा था last but one slide में, core muscles and controlling muscles. Usually these are smaller muscles. So quite a few times we give daily program morning and evening they can do, because these muscles will recover faster. But when you go to bigger muscles, जैसे deltoid का है, pectoralis chest का है, नहीं तो glutes का है, quadriceps का है, generally they take more time to recover. So weekly twice या weekly thrice maximum. That is the general suggestion. Yeah. Johnson, your question?
Yeah, there was a relaxation techniques they have asked. So probably I'll repeat again. there are many techniques, and especially in the relaxation, you can do yoga nidra and breathing exercises you can do, and you can include in other recovery techniques also, like pool you can include, contrast bath and ice immersion. You can do many more things for the relaxation. So that is one thing. Yeah.
And एक और है कि one more question was knee injury, knee ligament injury time है तो how much time it will take? See, the basic logic is हमारे body में body joints में every joint will have some ligaments outside the joint and some ligaments inside the joint. Whichever ligaments are there outside the joint, they will heal very fast. Whichever ligaments are there inside the joint, they will heal very slow or they may not heal at all. जैसा knee का देखेंगे, MCL, LCL, medial collateral ligament, lateral collateral ligament. ये दोनों ligament, these ligaments are outside the joint. They can heal in couple of few days or maybe 1 or 2 weeks. अब ACL injury है, anterior cruciate ligament, नहीं तो meniscus है. These are deep inside the joint. Those may not heal at all. तो इसे अब shoulder में भी देखें तो some glenohumeral ligaments they can heal. But once it goes to labrum, which is deep inside, any ligaments or capsules whichever are there deep inside the joints, they may not heal at all. इसीलिए some types of injuries we'll say better go for surgery. Some types of injuries we'll say give rest and then let's wait for healing to happen, whether healing happens or not. So that depends on different types of ligaments which happens. All पूरे ligament injuries को same treatment, same protocol is not advised. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Kiran sir, Johnson sir, I have to attend one more meeting. Sorry, sorry for that. Okay. If I get any questions, sir, I will forward to you, sir, again. Sir. Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you. Johnson, sir, Kiran, sir, thank you, sir.
Coaches, thanks a lot. Maybe I'll be seeing many of you at some time or the other during tournaments. Yeah, see you all of you. All the best.
Yeah, participants are बहुत late हो गया. Sorry for that one. Okay, sir. Thank you. Now I'm requesting all Sai coaches, please start your attendance. Put your attendance in chat box, please. All coaches, I'm requesting, please start giving your attendance with your name, designation, and center. Evening sports science session is also going on, 5 to 6. You can watch that section. I will circulate that ID in all WhatsApp groups. Please find that ID and you can watch that sports science session. And also I'm requesting, please, those who gave the attendance, you can leave.
Till 11:30 to 12:30 or what?
Sir, those who gave the attendance, you can leave, sir. I'm waiting for those who not yet given the attendance. So please make it fast. Okay, I am ending the meeting. Once again, thank you, sir, Kiran sir, Johnson sir. Thank you all participants. Okay, thank you.